And now nobody's calling. 2 months later, this guy by the name of Jerry Tarkanian, he was coaching at Fresno State, he called me up and he said, I want to give you a second chance. I believe in second chances. I want to give you a second chance, but you got to know that for 12 years of your life, you traveled this whole country playing AAU basketball, and in 4 months you threw it away. I can't have that when you come to Fresno. So I jumped on a plane, I went to Fresno, California. In my sophomore season, they hooked me up with these older adult men who were going to show me the way. They showed me the way, and that sophomore season for me was the best season of my college career. I was averaging 17 points a game. I was 5th in the country in assists. I was talking to NBA teams. NBA teams said, go back for your junior year. I went back for my junior year. I had just finished playing Duke in Anchorage, Alaska, and they were #1 in the country. I had a great game against Duke. My president, my athletic director called me in the office, and they said, you're a lock for a first-round draft pick. All you have to do is stay away from drugs and alcohol for the remainder of this year. You have 4 months to walk a straight line. If you do so, you'll probably be a first-round pick. You can leave school early. You'll make get a 5-year contract worth at least $1.5 million a year. All you got to do is do 4 months straight, my man. I was playing against UMass on national TV, CBS. UMass was coming to Fresno on a Saturday night. I went out with my homeboys, and I said, I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to have 1 beer. 1 beer led to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8. I picked up the phone, I called my Coke dealer. I'm playing on national TV at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I called my Coke dealer at 11 o'clock. I did my first line of Coke at 12. The last line of Coke I did was at 1 in the parking lot of this arena where there's thousands of people and TV cameras waiting to watch me play basketball. I drank Budweiser, I snorted my last line, and I walked right into the gym. And I played against UMass on national TV high on the influence of cocaine. After that game, my athletic director said, something wasn't right. Something wasn't right, so we want you to take a drug test. So I looked at the athletic director and I said, sir, ain't no need for a drug test, I'm okay. He looked at me and he said, well, you're going to meet me on campus tonight, because on campus tonight we're going to hold a press conference. You're going to look into all these cameras, you're going to tell these cameras that you have a major drug problem. At 21 years old, you're a cocaine addict and you need help. And in order for you to ever play at Fresno State again, you have to go away to a treatment center for 28 days. So I jumped on this plane and I went to Salt Lake City, Utah. I jumped into this treatment center and I sat in little rooms with people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and I heard them telling their stories. I'm like, these people are pathetic, man. This would never happen to me. I got a bright future. I can't believe Fresno State had me in a room with these people. So for 28 days, I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say a word. I wasted my time, I wasted their time. I jumped on a plane, I went back, I played my senior season at Fresno State. In my senior season, my wife got pregnant, I got married, and I was drafted by the Denver Nuggets, the 2nd pick in the 2nd round. When I flew out to Denver, the training camp, Chauncey Billups, Nick Van Exel, Antonio McDyess, George McCloud, Roy Rogers, they all grabbed me. They grabbed me and said, we don't care that you're 22 years old. We don't care that you have a baby. We don't care that you're married. We're going to treat you like our little brother. Because this is a very small window of opportunity. And we're going to babysit you. There'll be no drinking. There'll be no smoking. There'll be no strip clubs. There'll be none of that on the road. We will check in on you periodically. We'll go to your hotel room and make sure you're sleeping at night. Because we don't want you to blow this chance. So that year was the best year of my life as a pro. I was surrounded by positive influences. I was surrounded by people who I had never been really surrounded by before. People that were willing to sacrifice themselves to help another person. So when that season was up, I moved home. I bought a big house, a couple of cars. My wife and my son, we settled in Fall River, Massachusetts, where I grew up. That summer, I'm having a cookout. This kid I went to high school with walked into the backyard of my cookout and said, Chris, take a walk with me. So I walked around in front of my house, and I'm walking around in front of my house, and he said, remember we were in high school and we used to play with perks? We used to play with bikes. He said, there's a new pill. And he reached in his pocket, and he pulled out the Ziploc bag. And in this Ziploc bag was a bunch of these little yellow pills. 20 bucks and you can have it. I reached in my pocket, I handed him 20 bucks. I pulled my palm out, I did it again. I said, I'll do this once. I'll try and I'll go back to my cookout. I threw it in my mouth and I walked back to my cookout, started playing with my son. I had no idea. I'm telling you this again from the bottom of my heart. I had no idea that that little yellow pill, early that summer, was going to turn to 1,600 milligrams by the end of the summer. I woke up on 1080s and I went to bed on 1080s. That $20 that I handed that man at the beginning of the summer went to 25 G's a month. $25,000 of my NBA money a month was going in some guy's pocket. I went back to training camp when I said I'm going to kick this dope. I'm going to detox, I'm going to kick this dope. I flew back to Denver, I sat in my home, I waited 72 hours, throwing up, sick, freezing cold, sweating. And then the phone rang. When the phone rang, it was Rick Pitino, who was the coach of the Boston Celtics. And he said, son, congratulations, you've just been traded to the Boston Celtics. He said only 5 people in the history of New England has ever put on a Celtics uniform. This must be the best day of your life. And I'm sitting there listening to this man talk to me. And all I can think is, this is going to be the worst thing I've ever going to jump into because I'm going right back to these options. I hung up the phone, I jumped on a plane, I had a press conference the next morning. But before I landed, I called my dope dealer and I said, listen, my man, I got a press conference tomorrow. Be out in the parking lot waiting. So there I am in this press conference for the Boston Celtics, standing by all these players, holding my jersey, saying it's the greatest day of my life. I've been working my whole life to become a Boston Celtic. That's where I grew up. And all I can think about was the man in the parking lot. So as soon as the press conference ended and I lied, I jumped in his car, grabbed 1080s, phone, and started this mess up again. In my 4th game as a Celtic, Rick Pitino walked in the locker room, I'm sitting right inside of Paul Pierce. And he said, Chris, tonight you're my starting point guard. Tonight we're going to sit down with Kenny Anderson, and you're going to play. So I looked at the coach, I can't say it to him, but I looked at the coach and I said, thank you. But what I was really saying was, my man, I can't play right now because of my oxy dealer. He meets me after the games. Without him, I can't function. I can't play in an NBA game. So I jump on the phone and I call my dope dealer and I say, listen, my man, it was an hour and 10 minutes before my name was called in the starting lineup for the Boston Celtics. You need to get in your whip, drive to Boston, and bring me the dose. He said, I'll do my best. He hung up the phone. And while there's 15,000 people in there, my mother, my brother, my father, my wife, my son, and I'm out on the floor shooting jump shots, getting ready to play against Michael Jordan on the Washington Wizards, I keep running back into the locker room, checking my phone and saying, where you at? So finally, with 8 minutes left on the clock, I'm in my full Celtics warm-ups. He calls me and says, I'm outside. I'm outside, but I can't get in. You need to come outside on the street. You need to come outside on the street and pick him up. So I said, my man, I'm in my Celtics warm-ups. So there I go, I keep opening that door and I'm passing thousands of people who come to the game and I'm in my full Celtics warm-ups. And I'm standing on the street corner on Causeway Street outside of Boston in the pouring rain, waiting for my oxys to be delivered. He pulls up, I reach in, I get my oxys, I throw them in my mouth, I run back in to the Fleet Center. 2 minutes later, I hear my name called and I play that game under the influence of OC. My memory as a Boston Celtic is standing on a street corner in my warm-ups waiting for my oxy deal. Halfway through that season, Shaquille O'Neal landed on my shoulder playing against the Lakers, and he tore my rotator cuff. I went right into surgery. My season with the Celtics was finished. And after that season was up, the Dallas Mavericks called and said, we just traded Steve Nash. There's an opportunity for you to be a point guard on our team. So I signed a summer league deal with the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks were playing in the Boston NBA Summer League. So I'm playing in the Boston NBA Summer League, and I'm leading the league in assists and scoring. And I just met with the Utah Jazz and the Philadelphia 76ers that morning. They said, we're looking at anywhere between $2.5 million to $3 million for 3 years. So around $8 million. And when I left that meeting, my agent grabbed me by the shirt and he said, all you gotta do, my man, is finish these next 2 games. So when I woke up for game 6, my phone rang. No, that ain't me either. No, it's all good. I don't know what it is. So when I woke up for Game 6, and my phone rang that morning, and it was a kid I grew up with who said, "My man, I got bad news. Your boy, he got popped last night. He ain't gonna be there this morning before your game." And I sat at the edge of my bed and I said, 800 milligrams or $8 million. And I looked at my wife, I looked at my son sleeping in bed. I packed my Dallas Mavericks jersey, put it over my back, and I started walking down into the lobby of the Four Seasons. And as I'm walking through the lobby, I see my teammate go on the bus. And I walk out the door and I see the bus, and I flip it. I walk back in the lobby, I shake the coach's hand. I said, "Thank you for the opportunity, but I quit." 800 milligrams, $8 million. Fact, 800 milligrams wins every time. Fact. So I drove to Fall River, which is about an hour away, and I copped my pills. And I jumped on the phone and I said, "Please give me a second chance." And he said, "No way." The NBA Summer League is teams from all over the world that watch you play basketball. The #1 team in Europe was from Bologna, Italy. And they called me up and they said, "We're surprised you didn't sign an NBA contract. What's going on?" So I told them I hurt my knee. I couldn't play the last 2 games. And they said, "Well, we want to sign you with your contract, $50,000 a month, cash, no tax. A couple of cars, bring your wife, bring your son, and bring your newborn daughter to Italy. We have a beautiful home waiting for you." So I jumped on a plane and I said to myself, I'm going to smuggle 380s in my luggage. But what I'm going to do with these 380s, every day I'm going to cut my milligrams down. And after about 3 months, I'll be cool. I'll be back to my normal self and I'll be off these oxys. Unfortunately, oxys don't play that game. After 2 weeks, they were gone. And I woke up dope sick. And I got practice at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm sitting at the edge of my bed once again saying to myself, what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this dope sickness? So I jumped in my car and I drove to the train station and I watched this man get off the bench and walk over to cars as he served them. Every car that pulled up, cars would pull up and he'd throw stuff in their window. And after a half hour, I said, "It's my turn." So I pulled up and this little Italian man walks over to my window. And I can't say oxys in Italian. I can't say perp in Italian. All I could think of, 23 years old, was to just point to my vein. So I pointed to my vein, and the man nodded his head yes. So I kicked open the passenger door, and he sat down in my passenger seat. He pointed down the road, so I started my car and we started driving. I pulled down this little alley, and he said, "You want heroin?" And I said, "Yeah, my man, I want heroin." So he reached in his mouth, right? He reached in his mouth and started pulling up a string that was tied to his tooth. Tied to his string was 15 balloons, little balloons of black tar heroin that he had all the way down his throat. So he went like this and flipped them. And I said, "My man, I want all 15. I bought all 15 balloons of black tar heroin at 23 years old. I sat in this alley and he pulled out a hypodermic needle. He tied me off, and I shot dope for the first time at 23 years old.